أعوذ بالله من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على محمد وآله الطيبين الطاهرين. In the name of Allah, the Compassionate, the Merciful, all praise belong to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I would like to congratulate you on the arrival of the month of Rajab. Mubarak to you, inshallah. Imam Ali alayhi salam has a very lofty and transcendent prayer in this supplication of Sha'baniyah that he says, Ilahi fasurrani biliqa'ik yawma taqdi fihi bayna ibadik. Oh my Lord, please delight me by seeing you on the day when you shall judge between your servants. Imagine that next year you are supposed to participate in a meeting where the king will pass judgment on you and what you have done, and you will be either sent to a palace where all the comforting facilities are available for you forever, or to the jail. Now, after lots of hardships and troubles that you went through during the year, the promised day has come. Let's imagine. There are also other people in the meeting who will be judged by the king. Some are sent to their palaces and some to jails. And now it is your turn to stand before the king and talk to him. One way is to tell him about the services you provided, for instance, to people, to his creatures, to his servants, and to his people, the good actions that you performed, and also to bring some excuses for your possible mistakes, having hope in his mercy and forgiveness. So that, he sends you to one of his best palaces, as there are many palaces which are very different in terms of facilities and bounties. Actually, you do not choose this way of talking to the king, and instead you say to the king that the only motivation I had for coming this long way to you was just to see you, and in reality you did it merely for this reason, for you have the greatest possible love for the king at your heart. You turn a blind eye to all those palaces and all those rewards. In fact, you don't see anything other than him, for you are able to see the beauty of his attributes. That is what Imam Ali alayhi salam is longing for in this supplication. To visit his Lord, to be delighted by seeing his beloved Lord. That is why when he talks about the day of judgment, when God shall judge between people and give their rewards or punishments, Imam Ali alayhi salam doesn't care about these details. He asks God to make him happy by the chance of seeing him. Sa'di, the famous Iranian poet, says that تنگ چشمان نظر به میوه کنند ما تماشا کنان بستانیم. Short-sighted people keep looking at the fruits, but we are the observers of the garden. In fact, this is the language of love that Imam Ali alayhi salam uses when talking to God, and it has roots in reality, for he was truly absorbed in God's love in this world and is the same in the next world. Where can you find such transcendent teachings? Who can say such noble words other than Imam Ali alayhi salam and the Imams and of course prophets of God? In fact, that is why we always admire Ali ibn Abi Talib. That is why we follow Ali ibn Abi Talib. because he is perished in God's love, and as a result revealed to us such lofty teachings about reality. It's not merely a matter of emotions, religious emotions. We are in fact the followers of proofs and reasons. Sayyid Hussein al-Nas has translated one of the books of Allama Tabatabai, Shia Islam. In his translation to this book, he mentions a very interesting story about Allama Tabatabai's meeting with one of the Orientalists who went to visit Allama Tabatabai. This researcher says to Allama Tabatabai in a polite way that there are some Western researchers who doubt that Nahjul Balagha is the collection of the words of Ali ibn Abi Talib. They think that this book probably belongs to about 400 years ago. Sayyid Hussein Nas continues that Allama Tabatabai was looking down when this man was talking, and after he finished, he looked up and with a special beautiful smile, which was peculiar to him, he says, replied to this researcher that for us, Shia, for us the one who has uttered those words of Nahjul Balagha is Ali ibn Abi Talib, even if he lived 4 centuries ago, not 14 centuries ago. Allama Tabatabai meant that we do not follow Ali for his body, which was there 14 centuries ago, rather for his wisdom and for the fact that he was very close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In this supplication, you see that Imam Ali alayhi salam uses this language of love in other phrases of this supplication as well. For instance, he says, وَإِنْ أَدْخَلْتَنِ النَّارِ أَعْلَمْتُ أَهْلَهَا أَنِّي أُحِبُّكَ. If you send me to the hell, I will inform, I will declare to its inhabitants that I love you. You know, the punishment of the hell is not in a level to let someone speak in such a rational way, such a beautiful way. Imam Ali's words are only explainable and understandable in light of the language of love. Other prophets also use this language. For instance, we read in the Holy Quran that وَمَا تِلْكَ بِيَمِينِكَ يَا مُوسَى قَالَ هِيَ عَصَايَ أَتَوَكَّلُ عَلَيْهَا وَأَحُشُّ بِهَا عَلَىٰ غَنَمِي وَلِيَ فِيهَا مَآرِبُ أُخْرَى. God asks Prophet Moses that, and what is that in your right hand? Prophet Moses says, it's my staff, I lean upon it, and I bring down leaves for my ship, and I have therein other issues. God asked him a very simple question. What is in your hand? Prophet Moses could just say that it is my staff. So why does he explain about such unimportant details about that staff? Didn't he know that, for instance, we are expected to reply concisely and briefly? What is more interesting is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions every single word of his reply, and Moses' reply, in the Quran, which has no unnecessary teachings. The reason is that Prophet Moses loves to speak to his beloved Lord. And God knows this beautiful fact about Moses and mentions it in the Quran so that we can set him and the way he loved God as an example for our lives. But this is not the end of the story. Another question about this verse is that, doesn't God know everything? Of course he does. So why did he ask such a simple question from Prophet Moses? Didn't he know what Moses held in his hand? Of course he knew. But the point is that God Almighty also likes and wants to talk to his beloved prophet. He also loves him, and that is why our scholars have said that the whole conversation between God and Prophet Moses, which is mentioned in the Quran, is based on love, and that is a kind of the language of love that they used. There are also other and deeper interpretations for this conversation that we cannot have them now. So concluding, Imam Ali alayhi salam was longing for seeing God instead of having hopes for his rewards, for instance. The question that might be on the minds of many of you is that, will I meet God on the day of judgment, or it is peculiar to those who are very close to God and could reach him in their spiritual wayfaring? Can everyone meet God on the day of judgment? The answer in one word is yes. We all will meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that is the best news for those who have faith in him and love him. The best news ever. But this needs explanation. The explanations are about the manner in which we meet God. We read in the Quran that the chapter Hamd, Maliki Yawmiddin. God is the owner of the day of judgment. Being the owner of the day of judgment does not mean to be the owner of a specific time. Rather, it means to be the owner of everything and everyone, because every creature will be resurrected on that day, and they will be there on that day before their Lord. They will stand before their Lord. This verse does not mean either that God becomes the owner of everything on that day. But for instance, before that, we as human beings were the owner of ourselves and our belongings. No. Rather, it means that on that day, it becomes crystal clear for everyone that the only owner is Allah. He is the only one who is the owner of everything. And this happens in light of meeting God. People come to know this fact in light of meeting him. But as I said before, the question is that in which manner we will meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The answer is that it depends on ourselves. How in this world we acted, how much we developed good characteristics, for instance, within ourselves, to the extent that we loved God. The manner in which we use the bounties and resources Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala provided us. If we are good people, we will meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala while he is happy with us. He is pleased with us. We will meet him through his attributes of mercy and generosity and kindness and so on. But if, God forbid, we are bad people, we will meet him while he is not happy with us. Some people here use the word angry for God in this situation, but in fact, this state of being angry cannot be attributed and ascribed to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, for it implies that there is some changes in the essence of God. But as we know, God is not material, so he doesn't change. In fact, he deprives those people from his mercy for the wrong actions they did in this world. This would manifest as the wrath of God to them. So the wrath of God is not the result of the anger of God. Rather, is the result of lacking of showing mercy, lacking of mercy. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala enable us to meet him while he is pleased with us. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala enable us to make the most of every moment of this month of Rajab so that we can get closer to this objective, namely meeting God with his beautiful attributes of mercy and generosity. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.